There's something different about like recording one of these in the morning versus recording one of these in the afternoon.
What's wrong with the afternoon? It's cool.
Um, for some reason I feel more tired in the afternoon than I do during the day. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to jump right into another episode of Tech Tuesday. My name is Ben.
Hey, I'm Tim.
And we're here to do another episode of Tech Tuesday for the people.
For the people.
Welcome back. We're going to get into some of your comments again today as we've been rolling back into the swing of things with Tech Tuesday. It's been nice to see your comments. It's been nice to see a little bit more feedback. And it's good to see that we're rolling as things should be, as all things should be.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we'll jump right into it with the first question. Do you want to go for it or me?
Well,
you go for it. Tim, you open up the floor. I feel like usually I am, so you go for it.
All right. At Immortal, or is it Immoral? Immortal Motors 562. Could go either way on that. I don't know this guy. We need a forum to discuss troubleshooting and tuning. As good as a system is, etc., so on and so forth, some other words, tuning's not intuitive. It's really what they're getting at. Weirdly enough, is if I can get caught up on my stuff today, I'll be able to make a couple tuning videos this week.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I'm currently laptop limited, so I can only tune with the handheld. Every time I stomp on the pedal, it dies. That's acceleration correction versus TPS. Or top your fuel map. Oh,
sorry. I thought we were having a moment.
Holy dude, I can't read all that. You know, I'm powerfully dyslexic, right?
Okay, Immortal Motors has a question about whether or not our systems are, what can be done, whether if you're not really using the advanced tuning software. A couple things on that, like kind of what Tim is probably going to expand on here in just a moment. Mm-hmm. We are going to get into a little bit more of quick little advanced tuning software short form videos, whether that's YouTube Shorts, whether that's on Instagram Reels or TikTok or anything like that. Just some quick little informational how to use the advanced tuning software. So one, that'll make your life easier, and two, it's just helps. It makes things not as complicated moving forward, especially when we talk about things that we add or take away from something later on down the road. Specifically here, he's talking about trying to dial in his system. If he doesn't have the advanced tuning software, how can he adjust parameters? And I'm sure a lot of people have this question as well, just from the handheld, instead of just using the advanced tuning software.
Yeah, it pretty much sums it up. So this cat's got a Royal Flush. Love the system. We got one on the truck here. I have already made a video. I haven't put it out yet because I've been stupidly busy. Off the Royal Flush install video we actually did. After that, I went and did a road tune. I think what I'll do, because I'm developing a really interesting, smooth, easy-to-learn method of tuning that makes an insane amount of sense to people, so I'm not switching between tables constantly. But, I'm going to make try to make a 15, 20-minute video on just the base adjustments and the theory behind using it. And I'll do it on a Royal Flush because that's what's in the parking lot. So
right.
I'll be putting that out probably on my personal stuff, but we're going to start here soon making really way better videos about some of the more interesting tech stuff, kind of like I already do on my personal YouTube channel, but like a little more corporate, a little more polished.
A little bit more corporate. But like another thing is, let's just take for example, something he's having a bit of trouble with cold starts. I do know a lot of times when people have problem with cold starts or anything like that on our system, it's either one, they haven't run the start wizard at all, or two, they're having some kind of timing related issue. And so one thing, for example, is there's locking and mechanically locking out your distributor and actually locking and unlocking in the handheld. And that's something that we can show you on a YouTube short video, as well as showing you how to throw in or take out timing on the advanced learning software. It's all in my head. It's all there. It's just trying to get it out. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
But that is something that we would like to get into a little bit more, and we'll get into in the future. But outside of that, there's probably not a whole lot he can do, strictly speaking, without the advanced tuning software.
Well, it's a little bit more flexible than it kind of realizes. But, yeah, the information on how to really manipulate that handheld and what to do with it isn't necessarily out there.
So basically, if you head over to Facebook, you can apply to be on that channel as well. So that's going to tell you things like what we update for each update in our software. It's going to tell you, it's going to allow you the opportunity to work and ask questions with people who already have their systems on their cars and running in the way that they would like it to, and able to give advice when maybe it's after hours or something that Tim can't directly address, like you said. Maybe you're not able to wait to have a technician give you a call back, and you need it more urgently, then maybe you can head over there and ask those questions. And again, as the company continues to grow, something like that will be even more helpful as more people continue to join and give their input.
Let's see. Let me read this one here. Dano74Z. Hello. I have a question in regards to the intake manifold, best used with the Aces, Killshot, FI. Missed a letter.
No. He's good.
No, he's got it. He's good. Do you recommend single or dual plane intake for a small block Chevy? Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you.
I recommend Happy Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah. Overeat, be miserable. Shuffle out to the garage.
Watch some football. There's some great football.
Yeah,
I guess you're going to watch this after Thanksgiving. There's some pretty good football.
What you need to do is go out to the garage with intentions of actually working on your project, and then set on a Harbor Freight 5-gallon bucket while you watch memes and things on your phone.
Advice for next year.
Especially when you're watching Text Tuesday.
Welcome back to How to Do Thanksgiving Right with Ben and Tim.
That's right. So, anyways, I'm a big fan of the single plane stuff. I've used dual planes with a spacer. I've used dual planes as well.
Yeah.
The fuel distribution is a little bit funny on a true dual plane that doesn't have the center divider modified any. Yeah. But if you're using dual plane, I recommend a bit of a spacer just because of intake reversion, fuel distribution, and stuff like that.
Or those throttle blades. You want to make sure that you don't have anything that's going to catch either.
Absolutely.
So having that spacer is probably necessary anyway.
Super hard to replace those things.
Yeah. Mark Crosby 2542 asks, just installed the Deuces Wild and I'm having surging idle issues. Only in open loop sometimes it goes into closed loop and it idles fine. Also, when it's in open loop, AFR is 13.5, but when it's in closed loop, AFR jumps to 174. Any idea what's going on? There's a lot going on there. The first thing I will say, just for if you don't know already, the open loop means that it is not in its learning mode. And then when it's in closed loop, it means that it is in a learning mode. So what's happening is once your engine is getting up to temperature, don't shake your head. Don't shake your head at me.
I'm just letting the people that know that they know that I know that you're not 100% right.
What about the open loop and closed loop?
Yeah, you're pretty close, though.
Closed loop is learning mode, though.
Kind of.
Don't do this to me.
Oh, it gets deep. Oh, my
God.
I just love that crackling noise as I start to crush your dreams.
Just go. I'm unleashing the technician at you, Mark.
Yeah,
go for
it. Anywho, as much as I love messing with Ben here, but he's partially right. Yeah, open loop means it's not really referring to the O2 sensor at all. It gets to a certain temperature, right? Because there's all kinds of interesting fuel modifiers going on in there, so it needs to get to a certain temperature first. And then whenever the internal heater, the O2 sensor, is up to about 650 degrees, when the resistance value is reading correctly and the ADC stuff, it goes in the closed loop. And then after the engine warms up to another level of temperature, then it goes into learning.
I see.
It's neat. It's really neat.
So it wouldn't necessarily jump until after it's been in closed loop for a little bit.
So if it is an open loop and say at 125 degrees of engine temperature, it says, okay, cool, we're going to go into closed loop at this point because that's what we, set a parameter to.
Yeah.
Cool, it goes into closed loop. And if the AFR, because this is a bad O2 sensor is all that is.
Right.
So whenever it gets up to temperature, comes out of open loop, goes into closed loop, it starts compensating a whole mess of fuel. So it goes into closed loop and starts getting real doggy, advances timing, IAC goes up, so on and so forth, and just really bogs down.
Yeah.
Or it'll give you crazy idle.
Yeah.
Or a lot of surging. And then when it starts learning, then it starts trying to compensate the fuel even more in the learning table and starts adding to it like a multiplier.
Okay.
So then it's like 20% of fuel here, still reading 174, still crazy rich. So it's just stacking fuel at that point. It's failed. It's going to fail lean on a naturally aspirated application.
Naturally aspirated.
Yeah, there's a little element in there made of ceramic and blah, 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 the nerd stuff. But when it gets into there and it starts learning, it starts stacking fuel. So it takes the value of this learned and stacks it on top of the other stuff that it's trying to modify, and it just continues to just go completely to the limits of what it's allowed to learn and how much it's allowed to compensate, which is usually a pretty good amount by the time it all stacks up. So you end up with a poor running condition.
Right.
If you're anybody's aftermarket system, competitor brand, our brand, whatever, if you're out of the Cars and Coffee and this happens, just unplug the thing or go into to tuning, fuel, advanced, and disable loop, disable learn. It'll get you back home because it might not have learned all that bad information yet. Also with that too, one of the things I'm a huge fan of is when I'm doing an install and I'm like doing a tune, I will let it run around. I will let it learn. I will look at the table. It's like, this is a respectable fuel table. I like it. It feels good. It drives good. It tips in. It has wide open throttle. Loves it. I just go to disable the O2 sensor. That's what I did on my camper.
Yeah.
And, that thing's like almost at 19,000 miles on a 2-barrel.
Yeah.
Just loyal as can be. I got a decent tune in it, turned off the O2 sensor. That O2 sensor has failed, and it's still driving the failed O2 sensor. And that was actually just because I was testing rev limiters and all kinds of weird stuff and destroyed it.
Nobody responded to this, but we'll go ahead.
Flapjack 1819. So, any hoozles, I'm trying to figure out, from Flapjack 1819, I'm trying to figure out how to display fuel pressure on my handheld, on my Royal Flush. I don't see an option for fuel pressure in any of the sensor list. Any ideas? It's there. One thing, if you got an old version of firmware on there, the older version, like pre-196, that stuff's not going to be in there. Update to the nose firmware if you can't find it in the sensor list, because that was a thing that I pushed pretty hard to have added in. So make sure you're updated to the nose firmware, do the handheld, follow along with the video we made, do the ECU, run the wizard again, get everything set up, and then you can go to like setting, monitors, I think there's like display and then display home. You go in there, you pick what value you don't really want to see anymore, like injection pulse width or something silly like that makes no difference. Click on that, scroll down through the right-hand column, or really the center one, and you'll see fuel pressure. Just click on it. It'll display it there. Click save. Shows up on handheld. Real easy money. That's something we could actually make a pretty sweet, quick YouTube shorty video on. Even though we did do it in a YouTube short, but it was on a different configuration, using the dash instead of just like the handheld situation. So same principles apply, just a couple extra buttons.
Okay, so I saw this. This was actually...
I wouldn't put any of that in there.
Well, okay, so on our first Tech Tuesday video, somebody just watched it, and I saw this comment. And I just wanted to address this. DC10 Tech 911 says, wait, what? I can't use my Petronix Flamethrower Igniter 2 with this system? Seriously? I'm trying to make sure here before I light it off for the first time. And so I remember all the conversations that we've had about Petronix and their products used with our products. I just wanted to address this quickly before we wrap up here.
Oh, you asking me about it?
Oh, I would be delighted if you would be so kind.
Neato. Petronix 1, Petronix 2, the Petronix Igniter 1, Igniter 2, really. Those are pretty good to go. You're not going to get a lot of timing control out of that stuff. The Igniter 3 is the real caveat to the whole thing because it has a multi-spark setup, which confuses our RPM input and makes it fuel like garbage. But yeah, I've got customers using Petronix Igniter 1, which we're actually using in a Lincoln big old barge of a car, suicide doors. It's actually pretty sweet.
Yep.
And then I got another customer who there's no option for his distributor. He's using an Igniter 2. Totally cool. I've talked to a few of these Petronix guys at the trade shows, one of the engineers, and that's something that probably in the future we're going to get up with those guys and actually make a pretty dynamite, very easy to follow wiring schematic by working with their engineers and ours, and be like, here's a nice clean PDF of like, if you're using this is how you wire it, this is how you set the menu up, you're dialed.
It helps to be in business for longer than 3 years and not have COVID and those kinds of things.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me? You guy.
How does one become so successful?
Well, it's easy. You do a whole bunch of aviation contracts in overseas, terrifying environments, save up all your money, invest in real estate properties, and then you get to a point where you can just kind of do whatever you want. So you decide to be an engineer and an automotive tuner.
Are you listening, kids? Are you taking notes? I know I am. I mean, shoot, I'm answering questions on episode 13 of Tech Tuesday.
13 episodes.
You should have seen me on episode 1.
I did see you on
DC
episode 1. I was
did.
there.
Don't cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. Hey, everyone. Thank you again for watching another episode of Tech Tuesday. If you liked it, leave a like down below. If you have any questions about EFI or ACES products, leave a comment down below. And if you happen to see any Tech Tuesday related media anywhere else on social media, feel free to show it some love. Super excited to... I guess you're watching this at the end of Thanksgiving, so we hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your families, ate some good food, watched some good football, and tuned some amazing cars. Well, thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one.
See you.
See you now.